everybody, and welcome to Bottom Line with Roni and Byron. And today we have a lot of news to get to you. We will start with the Florida School for Boys survivors are one step closer to getting restitution.
And in national news, we'll talk about how CNN suspends Chris Cuomo for helping his brother in his most recent scandal.
And then we'll go to high school football as well as some college football and some other sports. And we'll begin with Chipley High School Tigers that are in the state semifinals.
And for entertainment, we'll talk about how P. Diddy wants to buy back Sean John after it was filed for bankruptcy.
And then we'll switch to our relationship tea segment, and we'll talk about how valuable are you to others. And we'll get started right now. Byron, so let's start with the Florida School for Boys survivors, which is the survivors of they call themselves the White House Boys. Looks like they're getting one step closer to getting restitution. There's a bill that has been sponsored by Darrell Rouson, which is a Democrat from the St. Petersburg area. He has sponsored this bill and looks like it's going to pass the Senate bill and it'll be moved to the House. And so the survivors are in tears. They were at the Capitol on Tuesday and excited just about this one step. And what is happening, Byron, is that they're basically seeking restitution for all the abuse that allegedly they suffered while they were at the Arthur G. Dozier School for Boys here in Marietta.
Wow, well, that's I guess it's a long time coming. It's great that both sides of the aisle seems like they all in agreement that something like this needs to happen. Do they have any numbers as to how many remaining boys or survivors are out there, or do we know that at all?
No, this actual bill will identify all of the survivors, and that's the first step of getting them restitution. So once they identify them, then they can move forward. But getting it passed through the Senate is a big step, because last year it did not pass because they had one senator that voted against it. And this year he voted for it, and that was Senator George Gaynor. So, and he's from Marietta, by the way. So it's great to see that it will, pass the Senate and it will go to the House, and that will be carried into the legislature by Tracy Davis, which is the Democrat state representative from Jacksonville. So, these people have been trying to get this done for decades, and now they're in their 70s and 80s, and it's time that they get some type of compensation for what they have declared their experience at the Dozier School for Boys.
Yeah, and this is my thing. What gets to me the most is it's great that something's happening now, but it's been quite a while where this information came out. But my thing is, people got to stop trying to worry about how the optics are looking good rather than doing what's right. Because in the end, if you do what's right, you got to worry about whether or not Jackson County or the Dozier School to look bad, because it's already going to look bad. But what makes it look good is whether or not you get out in front of something and do what's right, and come to the forefront and own up to it. Trying to sweep things under the rug it just makes you and everything around you look that much worse. But that's that's my soapbox on that one. I'm glad that things are starting to happen, and maybe it can begin some healing, and I know it doesn't bring people back, but at least it gets things on the good foot.
That's true. That is absolutely true. That Senate bill is Senate Bill 482, and it's not only for Dozier School for Boys, but it's also the Okeechobee facility. So there were some allegations for that facility as well. So we'll keep watching this. Again, and this is the first step. It only basically says we're going to identify all of the victims and then move forward from there. And like I said, Darrell Rouson, which is the person that really has been that's campaigning for this and pushing this, is finally getting some results. So kudos to him as well. And I want to tell you, this segment, the local and state news, is brought to you by Brightway Insurance. Brightway Insurance is located in Marietta at 2867 Caledonia Street. And if you need some property, life, business, auto insurance, give TD Horn and his staff a call at 850-633-3460, and they can basically give you everything you need regarding insurance. Again, that phone number is 850-633-3460, and let them know you heard us talk about them on Bottom Line with Roni and Byron. So Byron, I'm going to move to my next story. It's going to be about the beautification project that's happening in Jackson County. Clean Up Jackson County is going to start. I think it starts this weekend. They're going to have basically trailers where you can just dump all of your bulk garbage, bulk trash that normally can't fit into your regular bins into specific locations. So starting on December the 4th and the 5th, which is today and tomorrow. Actually, no, it's going to be Saturday and Sunday, right?
Yes.
Saturday and Sunday. That's tomorrow and Sunday. They're going to be staffed at Browntown Park, which is in Graceville. So make sure you take a look at the bins there. And if you have anything that is bulk related, you can basically place them in these bins. Again, it's going to be in Graceville, December the 4th and the 5th, which is tomorrow and Sunday, as well as Cypress Park in Marietta. That's going to be there. And then they'll move the following weekend, Saturday and Sunday. They'll be in Alford Community Center, and Malone. So Byron, you can take, make sure you take your trash. That's the closest to you. And that's next weekend, December the 11th and the 12th. And then the following weekend, December the 18th and 19th, they're going to be at the Jackson County Recycling Center. So make sure everybody is aware of where you can take your garbage, your big bulky trash that you won't normally dispose of in your regular trash can, Byron.
Yeah, I got plenty of old toys and all kind of trash to get rid of and parts and all that. So where at in Malone is it gonna be again?
So in Malone, it's going to be at 5199 8th Avenue, and that's the parking lot by L. MacArthur Company. That's where that is. You know where that is?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So that's where that is. And that's December the 11th through the 12th. Browntown Park is located at 5270 Parkview Road. That's in Graceville. And that's December the 4th through the 5th. I don't want anybody to miss this, so I'm going to repeat it. In Alford Community Center Park, that's at 2552 Park Avenue, 2562 Park Avenue, and that's in Alford. That's December the 11th through the 12th. And then Cypress Park is also tomorrow and Sunday. And that Cypress Park, if you don't know where that is 6248 Highway 90 in Marietta. And then, of course, the last weekend is going to be at the Jackson County Recycling, and that's at 3530 Wiley Drive in Marietta. So I want to make sure you know what's not accepted. You can't take hazardous materials. You can't take tires. It says white goods or metal, no appliances, and no construction debris. So those are the items that you cannot take. Okay, I'm going to repeat that. Hazardous materials, no. Tires, no. White goods or metal, no. Appliances, and no construction debris. Okay, so make sure that you don't take those. If you have any questions about what you can and can't take, just give them a call. That is the county at 482-9633. Again, 850-482-9633. And again, this is for the trash cleanup, beautification of Jackson County, disposing of your bulk trash. Okay.
No washers and dryers, huh?
No washers and dryers, no appliances. No. No. All right. And then I'm going to move on to my next story, which is going to be the 14-year-old that was from South Florida. She left her home on Saturday. She was playing, unfortunately, she was online playing a game. And this man, who was 10 years her senior, came down and picked her up from her home and took her she was found the next day in North Carolina. Byron, she actually was taken Saturday. She called her mom crying, saying she was hungry and cold and she was far away from home. And the police was able to track her phone, her ping phone, and they got her the next day. And of course, just a sad situation, but it just lets us know as parents, we have to monitor our kid's phone, Byron. The name of that game was called Fire Max. I don't know if you've heard of that. I haven't heard of that, but it was a video game that she was playing, and she was, communicating with this individual, and ended up in. She's from North Miami Beach, ended up in North Carolina. So just crazy. But again, you have kids. I have kids and a child, and just want to make sure that parents are aware that you got to be careful about what your kids are basically, how they're interacting on social media.
Yeah. I'll say this, it's very hard. Parents, I know we get, we give them something to keep them quiet and get them out of our hair, but you definitely got to monitor what they're doing, what they're viewing. I mean, even I know everybody's on TikTok, but the language and the music that's used in a lot of these videos, you've got to monitor that. You've got to monitor what they're watching. There's certain algorithms in these YouTube videos that'll direct them down a path. And then some of the shows or the YouTube channels they watch, they have subliminals in there. So pay attention, really pay attention to what your kids are doing. Us parents, us millennials, we can't get lazy. I like to just send mine outside most of the time and not get so caught up into and even the new video games are not like what we were used to, where we could just have a cartridge, stick it in and play. Now pretty much all of the new ones, they have to be on the internet to play. So now they're interacting with other people, and you don't know, they might be playing a video game with a 30-year-old and not know it. So we definitely got
that's right, which is probably what happened in this case. She was playing with he was 10 years her senior. And then you don't know what kind of communication transpired, but it led him to driving to, North Miami Beach to pick her up and took her to North Carolina. And, gratefully she was found the next day. But just a horrible experience, I'm sure, for her as a 14-year-old. So, and which leads me to, there's a bill, Byron, that's being proposed in our Florida legislature that will require schools to teach a curriculum regarding social media, the benefits of it and the risk of it. So I think that will be great if that gets done. But it was proposed on Tuesday also at the Capitol. So the Senate Education Committee unanimously approved it. So hopefully it'll go ahead and move forward, and that bill will be put in place to require schools to teach on social media. So I think that'll be great. And so, Byron, I want to again say the local and state news is brought to you by Brightway Insurance. Brightway Insurance can find you all of your insurance needs as far as your property, life, auto, business, any insurance you need. Please give TD Horn and his staff a call at 850-633-3460. And they're open Monday through Friday from 9 to 5 p.m. and on Saturdays by appointment only. So again, give them a call and tell them you heard us talking about them on Bottom Line with Roni and Byron. What do you have for national news, Byron?
So for national news, before I begin, People's Funeral Home, because we care, we're here when you need us. Long Granbury Funeral Services Incorporated, doing business as People's Funeral Home, Mariana and Battle Mortuary, Panama City, offers services that is within the reach of all. Our caring staff is available 24/7 when the need arises. Our services are designed to commemorate the life being remembered at a price suitable for all. Give Cephas and Gwen a call at 850-482-2233 or simply stop by for more information. That's People's Funeral Home. So my first story is the Atlanta mayoral race. Very interesting. Andre Dickens, no relations, but I'm gonna go down that family tree
You may
see
not.
if I can find out. Yeah, I might be.
Now you may be. That's what you may not know now, but you might. Yeah.
Yeah, we might be some kindred spirits out there. But
Let's look at his photo.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm trying to check that jawline, note the eyes and everything, But Andre Dickens will be Atlanta's next mayor, according to Associated Press. The results became official after being certified by the Georgia Secretary of State's office. Andre Dickens and Felicia Moore advanced to a runoff after neither candidate had won the November 2nd general election. And Dickens he's a member. It's so cool to keep saying that name like that,
I'm sure.
Dickens is a member of the city council who was an at-large councilman, has won 2 citywide races since 2013, and he's run a campaign built on the foundation of his community advocacy. He helped Atlanta establish a $15 minimum wage in 2017, and his campaign website touts his record as a leader on transportation and development issues. So a kudos, and let's see what happens for this Atlanta mayor. As Keisha Lance Bottom stepped out, and I think she's taking a break, but I hope to see her come back in some facet in the near future.
Yeah, Byron, I think, my own personal opinion, just kind of watching, it was a lot that she endured in her tenure as mayor. And it just probably was kind of a bit much for her, I think.
Yeah.
So I hope to see her, like you said, in another on another platform. We do know Stacey is running. Did you know that?
Yeah, she's going back again for governor, correct?
Again, yeah. So we'll have to keep watching on that. But
let that be a good point to everybody. That's even my own advice. Even in a fight, even if I lose, you best believe that my opponent, what they felt, they feel your hit, they feel your strength. So competition creates change. So everybody out there that is kind of reluctant to put themselves out there on the line and to try and give a good fight, understand that competition creates change. Nothing ever changes when everything's the same and nobody's willing to stand up and fight for something. So just keep fighting and keep fighting. So that brings me to my next story. CNN suspends Chris Cuomo for helping his brother in his most recent scandal. CNN indefinitely suspended anchor Chris Cuomo on Tuesday after details emerged about how he helped his brother, former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, to face charges of sexual harassment earlier this year. The network said documents were released by New York's Attorney General Monday, indicting Cuomo took a greater level of involvement in his brother's efforts than CNN executives previously knew. As a result, we have suspended Chris indefinitely pending further evaluation, the network said. So this is one of those cases where if I'm gonna get in trouble, I'm gonna go down helping my brother. It's one of those am I my brother's keeper situations, but I think in the long run, I think he'll come out, still maintaining his job. But Chris Cuomo, it looks like he was trying to see, he might have called other people to see if they did a story on his brother, which is nothing new. And in a statement, he testified that he made a statement, "This is my brother, and I'm trying to help my brother through a situation where he told me he did nothing wrong." Cuomo testified last July to investigators at the Attorney General's office. So Cuomo, who he recently apologized himself after a sexual harassment allegation against him, has insisted that he did nothing to try to influence CNN's coverage of his brother's political problems, and that it would be quickly found out if he did. They've teetered the lines, and he's covered his brother's case and the situation on CNN, which is kind of them going left and right, whether or not they had their own rules saying they were gonna file it, and they weren't gonna allow that, but then they did do the ratings. But when you follow it, it's tricky because the current New York Attorney General is Letitia James. She's running for New York governor. And a lot of this stuff is coming out. So it's interesting to see how it plays out. But I can't be mad at him for trying to look out for his brother and trying to because they're like 13 years apart. So I imagine that bond is a lot more of almost like
a father figure.
A father figure and a big brother in one. Yeah. So it don't matter what side of the aisle you're on. You can't be mad at somebody trying to look out for the brother. But if you cross that line, then rules are the rules. So
was the line crossed? Basically, like I read something else about he may have inquired about one of the ladies. Is that Did you see that somewhere?
Well, yeah. So they're saying that he reached out to other journalists to find out whether they were writing stories about his brother. They also, said that he was trying to get more information on the young lady that was making the allegations about his brother in the sexual harassment case. And I think they found an email where he made a statement of to the point of he's got a lead. And a lot of times, when you work in these professions, that's journalism talk, leads and et cetera, et cetera.
Right,
But
exactly.
it may be it may be one of those cases where he was talking in that lingo, but he was actually, just trying to give his brother a heads up on something. And that he didn't use his CNN status or contacts or that such. Where he didn't do anything wrong, but it's pending investigation. So, and it's indefinitely, so that's not a good sign. But that may be a spin. But right now, Anderson Cooper is anchoring his show, which is close in the runnings, ratings wise, with his show. So he's been able to kind of be a little above, and that's kind of maintained his status with CNN. But entertainment is very tricky. I mean, you'll get forgotten about real quick. So if something else picks up or somebody else steps up and ratings start to take over, you may not see Chris Cuomo. He may, but hopefully,
he hasn't come on back. He hasn't come back yet. But
yeah.
when they told the staff, they told all the staff at the same time. And when they announced it, they said Don Lemons, which is, they're very good friends, apparently just dropped to his knees, and he was so distraught about it. Yeah. But they did say that they all understood why he did it. Yeah, but it was just, hard to hear that their colleague had been suspended.
Yeah, and they seem to understand the situation that he's in. I mean,
yeah.
you're gonna do, that's a normal thing to try to use what resources you have available to help, your family member out through a time, especially when you feel like they're innocent and they're being, wrongfully, persecuted and things of that sort. But journalism is one of those things. It's like law enforcement. It's one of those very fine lines that you can't go close to and you can't cross. And it's very subjective. The punishment is very subjective. One might be different from the other, so we never know what the outcome may be. But we'll keep you guys posted on what goes on with that situation. But yeah, right now he's in hot water, and the longer he stays out, it's kind of like football. That backup quarterback comes in, and if they start shining, you might not ever get your job back. So, but yeah, so much for that one. But that was that's all I got for national news. So for national news, once again, People's Funeral Home. Because we care, we're here when you need us. Long Granbury Funeral Services Incorporated, doing business as People's Funeral Home, Mariana and Battle Mortuary, Panama City, offers services that is within the reach of all. Their services are designed to commemorate the life being remembered at a price suitable for all. Give Cephas and Gwen a call at 850-482-2233 or simply stop by for more information. That's People's Funeral Home.
All right, Byron, we'll move on to sports, and we will start with the Chipley Tigers that are in the state semifinals. They beat Baker on Friday, and that score was, let's see, what was that score? 22-7. So that made them advance to the state semifinals. Yeah. Of course, that was a big win for them. And the team that they're facing on tonight is Hawthorne, which is a school in the Gainesville area, from my understanding. And apparently Hawthorne made it to the championship last year and they lost to Baker. So, it should be a good game. Hawthorne is undefeated and the Chipley Tigers are 9-3. Chipley has a very good team. They have a guy named, I think it's DeQuavius Sorry, who's already committed to Georgia. But he's leading the team, and their coach, which is their first year coach at Chipley, Marcus Buchanan. And so they're on a roll, and so they have the support of their city and of their county, and they will be in that game tonight, and hopefully they'll be able to pull off a win and advance to the state championship, which will be next week. Now, if they win, they will play the winner out of Chiefland and Madison County, who also play as well tonight. Now, Chipley and Hawthorne play tonight at 7:30 in Hawthorne. So we'll keep our ears open for that, and we'll post the results as soon as we get them. And I want to move on to our Chipola basketball team. Byron, the women's basketball team is ranked second, and they're 11-0. They're undefeated so far. And then the men, they're ranked third. So as always, they do pretty well. The men play on tomorrow. Actually, they play, no, not tomorrow. Yeah, they do play Saturday. They play Hillsborough Community College. So both teams always good, always strong. And so we'll make sure we post the scores from that as well. And I want to move on to the game that happened this past Saturday. Florida A&M University played Southeastern Louisiana in Southeastern Louisiana, and I went to that game. And of course, it was a playoff game, and Florida A&M came up short. They lost 38-14. But, you know, behind that, you know, they were happy that they made it, you know, that far. It had been a while since they made a playoff game, but there were some behind the scenes things that took place that was just not cool. And apparently that's being looked into. There was some racial stuff and signs, and there was supposedly a beer can thrown. And I actually saw the med team a section over from me. At the time, I didn't know what was going on until, you know, a couple of days later, but apparently the beer can hit a kid and he was bleeding. And so that's why they were there. But Brian, if you show the picture of some of the signs that was shown, you know, to the FAMU, us, you know, our fans, and that was just not cool. So we'll, you know, keep our ears open as what happens with that. But they did complain, you know, to the powers that be about what happened when they traveled. And there's a good article on HBCU, I think it is. No, not HBCU, Tallahassee Democrat, that basically a student who goes to FAMU, but she wrote exactly what happened from the time that the team left Tallahassee, you know, the bus ride for the coaches' wives and the students, and the team travel and the coaches travel via, you know, via plane. But they wrote a chronological order of everything that happened from the time they left Tallahassee to the time that they ended up in Baton Rouge, which is where they stayed at the hotel. So that's pretty good, interesting read if you read that. But in that, it does talk about, you know, what the fans saw and what they endured while they were there. Okay. Yeah. So
I think it got to be some banning from these games, from that type of activity.
Yeah.
You don't need all that. And I get it with the rivalry, get chippy and get a little, you know.
But that wasn't a rivalry. That was a playoff game, and it was a white school, you know, and you know, just sad how, you know, we're in 2021 and we're still having to endure that type of, you know.
Yeah. Anytime I find somebody that is 50 and under, that's still perpetuating that type of racist activity, it's sad, because that type of stuff is learned, and you know, you got to dig deep in the crates to find it on television. So you know, that's something that's got to be coming from somewhere in that home, somewhere in that upbringing. And if that's coming that heavy to be influencing a child to the point where they grow into a young adult and they're spitting that type of trash, then
it's crazy.
It's just sad.
I mean, it was. I mean, we traveled that far, and of course, you know, my husband and I.
And they beat them. I mean, it wasn't like you know, fan was beating them, and you know, you know, that's. Yeah.
And another thing, I will go as far as to say this, Byron. Like I said, my husband and I were there. There were some questionable calls. And I was like, the team does not need any help. They were already, you know, out playing FAMU, so they did not need any help. But they did get a couple of, you know, several calls from the ref that was like, I don't think so. But again, kudos to FAMU for making it to the playoffs. You know, proud of the team. And hopefully, they'll keep advancing. The program is growing and getting better and better each year. So kudos to FAMU. All right, and I'll move on to some old college football. We have one college football game tomorrow, and that's going to be Georgia at Alabama at 3 p.m. on CBS. So make sure you catch that one if you're interested in some college football. The playoffs, as far as I want to say playoffs, the bowl game starts in a couple of weeks. So as soon as we get that schedule, we'll make sure we post that as well. So you'll see who made what bowl. Okay. And I think that is going to be it for our sports burn. What you have for entertainment? Well, you know what? Let's mention Travis Russ. I will always mention Travis. Travis is a car salesman at Mariana Toyota here in Mariana. They're located on Penn Avenue at 2961 Penn Avenue. Any car that you need, contact Travis Russ and let him know that you heard us talk about him right here on Bottom Line with Roni Byron. You can reach him at 850-209-7051. That's 850-209-7051. And that's Travis Russ at Mariana Toyota. What do you have for entertainment?
So for entertainment, I want to talk about P. Diddy. P. Diddy wants to buy back Sean John from a bankrupt owner. So the hip hop mogul is offering $3.3 million to win back his namesake apparel brand, Sean John. So this was new to me. I thought he still owned Sean John. But apparently, I want to say it was back in 2016. He launched Sean John in 98, eventually billing it to annual retail sales around 450 million in 2016. Wow. And he sold it. He sold a 90% stake in the company to Global Brands. So Global Brands ended up filing for bankruptcy, Chapter 11 bankruptcy this summer, citing losses during the COVID-19 pandemic. This past Wednesday, was it Global Brands unit that controls Sean John? They filed a petition. So he's pulling the slick one. So he sold it for big money, and his proposal is what's known in the bankruptcy law as stalking horse bid. So, and it's an agreed upon early offer to buy assets out of bankruptcy at a preset price. The procedure typically affords a buyer like Diddy certain advantages in return for guaranteeing Global Brands a minimum price for the sale. Now, the petition it's been filed. Other bidders are allowed to get a shot at it for a higher price than Diddy. But these bids are due December 15th. So creditors could also file a motion with the bankruptcy court objecting to the sale. So it's almost like he sold it for big money and then could turn around and get it back for, way cheaper and get his brand back and build it up for nothing. So it's almost like having a house, fixing it up, selling it for 3-4 times, what you started with it with, and then get it right back even cheaper. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully Diddy gets it back. I mean, I was liking Sean John.
I don't think I knew he lost. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he sold. I mean, yeah, I didn't know. That's my only thing when it comes to black fashion lines. Whether it's Sean John, whether it was FUBU, whether it was Baby Fat or Fat Farm, Carl Kanai, any of those brands, they get so much success, and then the next thing you know, boom, they sell them, they sell out. Yeah, and I get it, but some of the top brands that we know of today, Gucci, Prada, they never the same family still owns these companies. They don't sell them outright for majority of the shares of stock. They still keep that brand. So I hope these black brands are hold on to their namesake and keep running it. It's business, but they drop one and do another. So but hopefully Sean Combs, aka Puffy, aka P. Diddy, gets his brand back. Yeah. So but in my next story, publishing briefs, Primary Wave lands Love TKO. Man, with Teddy Pendergrass and other music. So Primary Wave Music has acquired a stake in the publishing, master recording income, name, and likeness rights of the late R&B legend TP, Teddy Pendergrass. The new deal arrived shortly after Primary Wave's announcement of their acquisition of a stake in similar rights of another R&B giant, Luther Vandross, which was made public this last October. So Primary Wave, them and the Pendergrass estate will work closely together to manage the assets, and the company will begin using their marketing, digital publicity, branding, and other in-house services to expand the presence of Pendergrass hits like Love TKO, You're My Last, My Greatest Inspiration, and more to the public. There's a statement made by Stephen Greener. He said, "I've been a fan of Teddy Pendergrass for decades. He is one of the most iconic voices in history of music, and his songs are timeless. He's thrilled that Primary Waves was partnered with the estate and look forward to working with him and ensuring the legacy." His wife made a statement that her husband was a legend, icon. She's pleased about this partnership, and she believes working with Primary Wave is just what the estate needs to help showcase Teddy's rich legacy. So it's kind of one of those situations with Tina Turner. Sometimes you just don't have the resources to be able to push the music and the brand as strong as you need to bring back those big returns that they will bring. So his estate, his wife, they partnered with Primary Wave. So remember when we ran that story about Tina Turner, it was shortly after you start seeing in commercials, you start seeing you start hearing a lot of Tina Turner music going around. So beware. You start seeing Love TKO on a Pine Sol commercial. Don't be surprised, So kudos to the family, and hopefully I get to hear some more TP bumping around on television nowadays. So my next story, my last story, I get to get on my soapbox. So the attorney for Rust assistant director Dave Halls insists that Alec Baldwin did not pull the trigger on the prop gun. Alec Baldwin, he starred on a special that aired this past Thursday, where he showed Alec Baldwin making a key distinction about the Rust tragedy that claimed the life of a 42-year-old woman, cinematographer Helena Hutchins. The trigger wasn't pulled. I didn't pull the trigger, Baldwin told George Stephanopoulos, referring to the prop gun in his hand that somehow fired a live round and killed Hutchins on the indie film's New Mexico set on October 21st. I would never point a gun at anyone and pull a trigger at them, never. So look, so now he's running with the narrative. I remind you, I made the point that no firearms instructor, no matter where you go, no firearms expert, nobody's going to hand a person a gun and say it's clear, it's good to go. Nobody trains that way.
Right.
No matter who you are, you make sure that's your duty that's your obligation. That's what you're supposed to do, is make sure a weapon is clear. Now, at the end of the day, no matter what is the safety, where we always talk, the way I've always talked, the safety on a weapon is this right here. This is the safety. You don't pull that trigger, it won't fire. So now that narrative that that narrative is not working. So now he's working this narrative that it just went off. So here's a point.
How does that work?
Civilians, yeah. So here's the point. Those civilians out there that may want to entertain the idea that a gun would just go off. Okay, a firing pin doesn't just pop out without any action. It doesn't happen like that. Trigger has to be pulled. Something has to happen to make that little fire pin pop out and hit that round. Okay, it's not gonna happen. So, but remind you, in a court of law, all you have to do is create what? Doubt.
The doubt. That's true.
So now, if you get enough jurors to actually believe the narrative that a gun will just go off in your hand, you not touch the trigger, no finger on it, and it just goes off, then he's not held liable for the actions. But when you really look at this, situation down to the nitty gritty, it was carelessness. It was a lot of just it was just a lot of ignorant acts that led to a series of events that caused a person to die and one person to be injured, when at the end of the day, the responsibility lays on that person that had that weapon in their hand. and that's it. I mean, the people involved, somebody, they shouldn't have had a live weapon on set. True, but at the end of the day, Alec Baldwin. I mean, but we'll see where it goes. But I just it just get me it get me kind of riled up when now we're gonna say, oh, the gun just went off. No, ain't no guns don't just go off.
Right, that's true, Byron. But we do know it wasn't intentional. We know that. So I mean, that's not an issue. We know that he didn't intend to kill or harm anybody. But
but this is just like that case with Travis Scott. It's coming. You know some legal ramifications is coming.
Oh, yeah.
And I know in the start that Helena Hutchins' husband wasn't going to take any legal action, but time goes by, and that's a wife. Anything, right? Yeah, that's a wife. That's a mother. So, and then there are other people on the set that was on the set that are suing as well. So, he's and they won't just come at they're gonna come at him as well. So, but that interview, and I'll say this now, leave it alone. That interview with George Stephanopoulos. If you ever want to see a good actor do bad acting, watch that interview. Just watch that interview. To see him cry I was like, Alec,
give him a break. Give him a break.
It is no. That didn't even look genuine. But I digress. But guns don't just go off. I've never bought that narrative. And the more you dig into a situation, you'll find out the truth. But hey, I know he's going through a lot, but at the end of the day, you got somebody that's not here anymore. So okay, and that's it for entertainment.
All right, we'll move right on to our relationship tea segment. And today we will talk about how valuable are you? Now, Byron, what we mean by this is I saw this analogy. I don't know if you saw it, but it's been basically being passed around on social media about how a water bottle in Costco is worth 25 cents. And then at a supermarket is 50 cents. That same bottle of water at a bar costs $2. And then at a good restaurant, it could be $3. And then at an airport, it could be as much as $5. And nothing has changed. The brand hasn't changed. The amount of water hasn't changed. The only thing changed was its environment. So, which leads people to think, man, how am I being viewed as being valuable? If you find yourself in a situation where you're not being valued, then I guess you need to change your environment. What do you think about that, Byron?
That's the exact correct point. I know a lot of people had this high school, for instance. High school, grade school could be like the worst time for people, because if you have that one embarrassing moment, you get judged for that throughout. So you can't date the cool person or the beautiful girl, the most popular girl in school, because you had this one embarrassing moment in second grade or fourth grade or what have you. But then you find when you get out into the rest of the world, you go to college, you go in the military, and you find out, hey, I'm a pretty good looking person, and I've got some value, and I'm dating people that are, I found out, a lot of folks find me attractive, or whatever the case may be, or even friends. You find out that, hey man, I'm friends with very other cool people. It's just that your environment where I was in, I was boxed in. Yeah, I was boxed in. And it goes back to it goes to the point of self-concept and how you see yourself. How you see yourself is more important than how others see you, because other people will notice. For me, in my lifetime, I've always gravitated to like-minded people, and I look back and I always wonder, how in the heck did we ever meet? And we can never say how. But because we are just we go-getters, we're achievers, overachievers. We have a passion for doing things, or we've got a stubbornness about getting things done right. Old school, it's whatever it may be. The next thing I know, I'm locked in step, and I'm good friends with somebody. I never know how it happens. So, but how you see yourself, it's sad, but as human beings, socially, we can change the whole course of a person's direction based on what we put on them and what we
And
do to
how
them
we
and what we
treat
say to
them.
them. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because we have to teach people how to treat us. Do you realize that? You can't let people devalue you. If you're in that situation, then you just kind of remove yourself from that relationship. You can't let people devalue you, no matter if it's even, I'll go so far as to say, even as on your job, you just have to make sure you are putting out, I say energy, I use that word a lot, that say, hey, I have standards. I'm valuable, so you can't treat me this way. You're not going to
And
treat
see,
me this
hurt
way. So
people.
I will remove myself from your presence, from your relationship, because you're not going to devalue me. I'm valuable. And so, I think that's a lesson that, we learn at some point. But unfortunately, some people don't learn it, or they're not strong enough to understand their worth. And so they stay in relationships, stay in situations that's not really productive or not beneficial to them. And it's detrimental to their self-esteem, it's detrimental to their overall health. And they just do not understand, hey, I am somebody, I'm valuable, and I'm not going to allow anybody to devalue me. So again, we treat people how you teach people how to treat you.
And see, hurt people hurt people. That's a real statement. People that are, and a lot of times they try to project their pain on you,
right?
And it makes them feel better about themselves, and you have to be cautious of that. Just like what goes when you're trying to do something positive, a lot of times don't think that it's somebody out there that sees the light in you, they see the drive in you, and they want to help you, but it's somebody else out there that's trying to tell them, don't help them. And it's because of, it may be jealousy, it may be envy, but it's a lot of emotion and pain and turmoil that's on them, that's trying to hinder your light from shining. So what you got to do is you got to go beyond that. When people try to put stuff on, you got to have the will enough to outlast anybody's pain, anybody's hurting that they're trying to project on you. You got to outlast, you got to outwill them.
And you have to understand it has nothing to do with you.
No, it don't. It don't have nothing to do with you. And a lot of times people internalize that, and then they end up, it tears away at their self-esteem, it tears away at their self-concept, and they never allow themselves a chance to actually be what they were born to be, to do what they were born to do what their God-given right was, and that was to enjoy life and know your purpose and live out your purpose. And the sad thing is, a lot of times some people never get to that point. So don't let anybody change your mind. And that's an easy thing to say, because it's hard out here, and I understand it. Even for me, I get caught in those situations a lot of times, but knowing your value is only you could know that, though. That's nobody could tell you that.
Right.
Yeah.
Only you know what you're worth. Only you know what, how valuable you are. Only you can teach people what you're worth, and how, and only you can do that. If you give off, this, woe is me type, persona, then that's how people are going to treat you. But if you're giving off a strong energy, and that, hey, you can't treat me this kind of way, then you're not going to be treated in kind of way. And if they try, they will quickly learn that no, you can't treat him like that. You can't treat her like that. You can't. She don't play the radio, so she will quickly correct you.
What was the movie Will Smith did? It was based on a true story. It was him and his son, and he made the quote. He was telling his son, he said, "Don't let people tell you what you can't do, because they feel like they can't do it themselves."
Right.
And a lot of times, like I said, a lot of times people try to tell you something, what can't be done. And when you say something, that's why it's not always good to tell people your goals or your dreams or your ambitions, because they'll try to shoot you down,
discourage you.
Yeah. And you know how people do something, you wear something nice. Oh, see, you got your little outfit on. That's the key word.
That word, live.
Yeah, that's the key word. Somebody try to throw some shades away. Yeah, how your little book doing? Oh, it's little. Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
So
but you just have to dismiss that. Let it roll off your back. Yeah,
Yeah,
roll off,
yeah,
just brush it off because,
yeah.
like I said, a lot of the times when people, belittle you, it's something within them that just
Mhm.
not, it's not right. They're not at peace with themselves, so they project that on others. So you just can't, tell them I'm not a dumping ground. I'm not waste management. You're not going to dump your issues on me. Whatever you're feeling, those are your feelings, not mine. So keep them to yourself and you come correct when you're speaking to me. You don't speak to me in a disrespectful way. You don't, talk to me in a disrespectful way. You just talk to me like you got some sense. Sometimes you have to just be straightforward, people.
Mhm. Mhm. That's
Again,
my that's
yeah,
my strategy. I just
yeah,
I
straightforward.
rather, and if you don't like something, say it then. Don't
Exactly.
hold it. Don't bottle it up, because then it's gonna come out. It's like pressure. It's gonna come out a whole different way.
Yeah,
And some people may understand, your why you blew up the way you did, but a lot of times it could go bad. So you don't like something, get that off for you, and say it then.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah.
Don't wait. I've been in that situation. I just kind of let things build, and it just kind
Mhm.
of escalated and I blew up and I just said everything. So don't go off.
Yeah.
Don't do
Yeah,
that.
they're sneezing. What you sneezing on me about? I hate you. Why you, you just go off.
They're like, pipe down, pipe down. Yeah, my
Yeah,
bad. Yeah, yeah. I
yeah.
should have told you a long time ago. This is how I was feeling. Yeah,
Yep, yep.
yeah. But anyway, I was trying to find that movie. Man, him and the little boy. I can't find it.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's crazy. It'll come to me as soon as we get off the show, and I'll
yeah,
be like,
yeah,
man. But yeah,
man.
he because
Anyway,
he
but
was
yeah,
homeless, and
yeah, and he took they stayed in a,
the
they
pursuit of
stayed in
happiness. That's it.
pursuit of
The
habit.
pursuit
That's
of
it.
happiness. That's
Yeah,
it.
there we
It
go.
hit me.
Yeah,
It hit me. The
yeah.
pursuit of
So
happiness.
that's good. So again, today just want to just encourage you to value yourself, know your self-worth, and don't let anybody tell you you're not worth anything. And I always think about that analogy of that water bottle, of how it went from being worth 25 cents, the same water bottle, and then in another, place it's worth $5. So
Mhm.
how do you assess yourself?
Mhm.
All right. Okay, Byron, I think we're up against the clock, but before we end the show, we have to go to my birthday challenge, which is the Rock the Boat Challenge. You guys stay tuned and make sure you watch this. I did the Rock the Boat Challenge and watch Byron's response.
Okay, so I just gotta say I tried. I did my part.
You did good. I think.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. All right. But we're going to move on and let you know that, remember, when you know the truth, you can speak the truth, and the light shines brighter when it shines for two. And we'll see you next week.
It go left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. Ooh, baby, come on, you go wobble with it. Ooh, ooh.